Good morning and welcome to all. So today we are going to discuss about prokaryotic cellular reserves. Introduction. The bacteria, despite their simplicity, it contain a well-developed cell structure responsible for many unique biological properties which are not found among archaea or eukaryotes. Because of the simplicity of the bacteria relative to the large organisms and the ease with which they can be manipulated experimentally, the cell structure of the bacteria has been well studied, revealing many biochemical principles that have been subsequently applied to other organisms. So the cell structure of the bacteria is well studied, which reveals many biochemical principles. Most bacteria did not live in the environments that contain large amount of nutrients at all times. To accommodate these transient levels of nutrients, the bacteria contain several different methods of nutrient storage, which are employed in times of plenty for use in times of want. For example, many bacteria store excess carbon in the form of polyhydroxyalkanoates or glycogen. Some microbes store soluble nutrients such as nitrate in vacuoles. Sulfur, that is in the case of eukaryotes, because vacuoles are present in eukaryotes. Okay. Sulfur is most often stored as elemental granules which can be deposited either intracellularly or extracellularly. So it is another type of inclusion. Sulfur granules are especially common in bacteria that use hydrogen sulfide as an electron source. So the most of the above mentioned examples can be viewed using a microscope and are surrounded by a thin non-unit membrane to separate them from cytoplasm. So these sulfur granules are also extracellular reserves. It has been duly observed that there exists a good number of reserve materials strategically located within the prokaryotic cells. So in the discussion we are going to discuss about the extracellular reserves in prokaryotic cells, and they are known as granular cytoplasmic inclusions. The three most vital and important organic cellular reserve materials present in prokaryotes are polybeta hydroxybutyric acid, glycogen, and starch. These are the main three important extracellular reserves. So this is the table of organic cellular reserve materials and the example of the prokaryotes which possess these cellular reserve materials. First one, polybeta hydroxybutyric acid and glycogen. Those are present in purple bacteria and also in certain blue-green bacteria. Second one, the polybeta hydroxybutyric acid alone. Those are present in Azotobacter, Bacillus, Bannakia, Photobacterium and Spirillum. Then glycogen. These are also organic cellular reserve materials. Those are present in blue-green bacteria, Clostridia and enteric bacteria. Last one is starch, which are usually present in Clostridia. Now next is about salient features. The salient features of these organic cellular reserve materials which are present in prokaryotes are as stated under. First type of organic cellular reserve materials we are going to discuss is polybeta hydroxybutyric acid. It is found exclusively in the prokaryotes and invariably captures as an equivalent of lipoidal content duly stored in eukaryotic cells. So it is equivalent to the lipoidal content which are stored in eukaryotic cell. And this beta hydroxybutyrate or butyric acid, it is observed in several species of Azotobacter, Bacilli and Pseudomonads. Interestingly, certain specific organisms such as purple bacteria has an ability to synthesize even two types of reserve materials. For example, glycogen and poly-beta hydroxybutyrate. And another characteristics exhibited are visibility. These organic cellular reserve materials are found to be deposited almost uniformly very much within the cytoplasm. So here I am going to tell about the certain characters of this poly-beta hydroxybutyrate within the cell. The characters which are exhibited by this organic cellular reserve material. First one is visibility, which are very much seen deposited within the cytoplasm. They may not be detected under a light microscope unless and until these are duly stained. So as a result of staining, we can visible. Next is the cellular content. The actively growing cells do have these reserve materials, but which are present in rather small quantum in the cellular content, whereas they get usually accumulated exclusively in the carbon-rich culture medium. So these are accumulated in the carbon-rich culture medium under the influence of what? Restricted or decreased amount of nitrogen. Whenever the amount of nitrogen is very scarce, and when the carbon is rich in the culture medium, this leads to the production of poly-beta hydroxybutyrate. Next is its availability. These reserve materials may sometimes represent even up to 50% of the total cellular content on private basis. So they constitute up to 50% of total cellular content. Next is utility. These reserve materials are fully utilized when the prevailing cells are adequately provided with a suitable source of nitrogen and the growth is resumed subsequently. So, if the suitable source of nitrogen is provided, so these reserve materials are fully utilized. Next important organic cellular reserve material is glycogen and starch. Glycogen, it is a polymer of glucose and it is stored as a reserve of carbohydrate and energy, that all of you know, in the bacterial cytoplasm. These bodies are never enclosed by a membrane and they serve as storage vessels. It has been duly established that the synthesis of glycogen and starch is usually accomplished through a proven mechanism for storing carbon in a form which is osmotically inert. So this glycogen synthesis and starch which is accomplished by what? Nothing but storing excess carbon in the form which is osmotically inert. The poly-beta hydroxybutyric acid, it precisely designates a method of neutralizing an acidic metabolite. Next is cyanophysin, another important cellular reserve material. It is a copolymer of arginine and aspartic acid. In general, the prokaryotes fail to store particularly the organic nitrogenous materials, but the blue-green algae is expected, which essentially accumulate a nitrogenous reserve material, and this material is termed as cyanophysin. It invariably represents as much as 8% of cellular dry weight and may be regarded as a copolymer of arginine and aspartic acid. Next important cytoplasmic cellular reserve is metachromatic granules or volutin granules. These volutin granules are an intracytoplasmic storage form of complex inorganic polyphosphates, the production of which is usually as one of the identifying criteria when attempting to isolate Corynebacterium diphtheria. So, when we are isolating this Corynebacterium diphtheria on a lockless medium, by staining this organism, we can see certain volutin granules. So, the volutin granules is typically produced by Corynebacterium diphtheria, which are polyphosphate granules, and they exhibit a metachromatic effect. That's why the name metachromatic granule. What do you mean by metachromatic effect? In which it appearing red when stained with methylene blue. So, whenever it is stained with a methylene blue, but the microscopic appearance is red in color. That's why a metachromatic effect is termed. They can also be found in the cytoplasm of Saccharomyces. It is a type of yeast or a genus of ascomycete fungi. So, in this yeast also, within the cytoplasm, we can observe these volutin granules. A plethora of prokaryotes acquire more and more volutin granules that can be stained with a basic dye, for instance, such as methylene blue. And these prokaryotes appear as red when stained with a blue dye. That is the metachromatic effect. Importantly, the prevailing metachromatic nature of the ensuing red complex is on account of the very presence of substantial quantity of inorganic phosphate. So, when it is stained with methylene blue, the resulting complex forming a red color, which indicates the presence of inorganic phosphates in the form of volutin granules. Evidently, the actual accumulation of this substance in prokaryotes, which takes place under critical parameters of starvation, and this type of substance are produced during the starvation, specifically during sulfate starvation. It has been observed that these instantly generated volutin granules disappear as soon as the cells are adequately made available with sulfur source. That is why this type of granules are produced when there is a scarcity in sulfur. Whenever the sulfur is adequately available, these volutin granules disappear. Subsequently, the phosphate moiety is incorporated strategically into the nucleic acids, that is either with DNA or with RNA. From the above statement of facts, one may vividly infer that the volutin granules definitely represent particularly the intracellular phosphate reserve when the desired nucleic acid synthesis failed to materialize. That's why the phosphates are available in the form of volutin granules when the nucleic acid synthesis failed to materialize.